Good evening. Everybody's all set. We'll call the meeting to order. Great. 6:30 p.m. We'll call the Finance Committee meeting to order. I do see that we have Melina on. Would you like to participate in a public comment, Melina?
No, I'm here writing for the Sentinel.
Okay. So I guess there's nobody here to participate in public comments, so we will pass through that. But with the committee and a quorum here, I did send this out the other day. Last meeting we discussed a statement to be read before public comment, so people understand what the role of the Finance Committee is. I did get this from our annual statement or annual report, and I'd like to read it for the committee to have comment on it. I think everybody's okay with it. I heard back from one person, but that was it. The statement that I proposed is as follows. The Finance Committee is an advisory committee that collaborates with the town manager, town accountant, and select board members throughout the budget process cycle to gather information and data to make sound financial recommendations on the fiscally related warrants at annual or special town meeting. The Finance Committee strives to maintain transparency in the budget process, be collaborative, open-minded, and consider first and foremost what is best overall for the town and its schools and its fiscal related recommendations, as well as what is sustainable operationally. Does that seem like it's appropriate?
Yes.
I don't want anybody to think that we have anything to do with what departments do with their funds once they have it, because we really don't. All right, then if there's no comments, I guess we'll move forward and just use that. I don't think we really need to vote on it or anything. It's just
No, okay. I agree.
All right, we'll move on to the next agenda item, and that is outstanding meeting minutes, and we only have one set, and that's from December 10th. That was distributed. Does anybody have any comments?
No, they look good.
I was not there, so I can't participate.
They looked, I have no comments or additions. They're very detailed and, well, as detailed as they need to be, and it's complete as far as I can see.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. Thank you.
But to keep them on for another year.
Yeah, right?
Maybe
not.
All right, so I will make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes as provided.
Second.
All in favor?
Right. Since you have a participant online, you're gonna do a roll call vote.
Oh, that's right.
I
Oh, okay.
can't vote, but I can't vote because I was not at that meeting, Steve.
Okay, that's. All right, so.
In the future, just an FYI, Lori, you actually can watch the meeting again on YouTube, and then you can compare it to the minutes, just in an FYI, so.
But then would I still be able to vote on it if I wasn't present and participating? I don't know the answer to that. Okay,
I think you should.
okay. I will bear that in mind.
All right, so it passed 3-0-0.
One abstention.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 3-0-1, one abstention, you're correct. All right, item 4, discuss possibility of meeting with the Capital Improvement Planning Committee. I threw this in and I actually updated the agenda late last week, as I did hear from Mike Hoffler of the Capital Improvement Planning Committee. And because I actually reached out to them after watching the select board meeting last Monday, and they were discussing the actual large amount of requests they had for capital improvement. And I would hate to be in a meeting when it's presented to the town, when the town has to act on it immediately. And they invited me to come on Wednesday to their meeting. I agreed. It's at 4 PM. It's too late now to do to post for a finance committee meeting. I did talk to the town clerk this afternoon. She said we could attend, but we can't attend as a committee. We can't deliberate, but we can obviously participate and listen in. I don't know if anybody wants to join us, but obviously you can. It's at 4 PM on Wednesday.
Real quick, I did submit my letter of intent and request to be a member along with my resume. I believe it's going to be voted on Wednesday whether I'll be accepted as a member. So if I do attend, it would not be, it would just be as somebody just observing.
That's okay. There's only two of us.
Exactly.
It's fine.
But then can I ask, would that mean that, Rick, that you are a representative of the finance committee, that you be serving on that board?
I would be a member, but it would be sort of a dual role, but not official. What I would do is I would be there listening to what they're talking about, looking at the minutes, etc. And then when we have our meetings, I can report on what they're doing in conjunction with what we do. So it's not an official representative. It's actually, I'm going to be a member
Of both committees.
of both committees, basically.
Okay, I just missed a couple of meetings, so I didn't know if there was something I had missed. Okay.
So that's really all I could say about that. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll go on Wednesday and possibly on the 26th, we'll probably discuss some stuff that's going on there. If the chair of the select board sees fit. Okay, so let me see here. I don't see it in my packet here. Actually, right here, it's the next page. All right, so I wanted to review with the committee the actual annual report. I did receive a copy of last year's from Melissa. I went over it. I talked with Jill about getting some updated information. When I saw it didn't quite balance out, so Jill and I talked about it. So we reviewed it, and she gave me some more information, which was considerably more detailed than the original report. But instead of combining it into those other items that were done last year, I just basically kept them as they are. I combined the Belchertown School District Pathfinder funding into one lump sum as it's just education. And then in the bottom, I did some footnotes and I defined what line items were, and I broke out some of the education funding. We're at the annual report. Perfect timing. So and just so everybody knows, they all balance out. Now with fiscal year 26, I did talk about this with Jill, and we thought it would be best at this point not to add in the funds that were allocated during the special town meeting, and we focus just on the annual town meeting. That we can obviously add that stuff. It's simple. It's just a couple line items, but that stuff's still moving around a little bit. We didn't want to muddy the water. Anything on that, Jill?
I just think it would have made things, it would have skewed the numbers in a way that may or may not be fair to any one department or might be confusing for people. So it was my opinion, we should just go with the original budget numbers.
And those were just one-time funds too. Yeah, from the special town meeting, so it wouldn't necessarily carry over. Anyway, did anybody look at this? Do you want to review them or?
I did look at it, and can I be crazy nitpicky OCD like I am? So under the expense, you have 0.00 on the majority of the expenses after the dollar amount, except for schools, Pathfinder, RVTHS. But on the income, you just have it as the, the whole number. So that makes me crazy, but you do what you want.
Okay.
I would think we'd want to pick one.
We can remove that. That's
I get a little bit nuts about that stuff. I'm sorry.
a good point.
Pick one or the other, is that what she's saying?
Right, pick one or the other. Pick a lane. But other than that, it looks great. Like it's a very short. I know that every year the finance committee's been asked to, keep it short, as every other department is asked to keep it short and sweet. Jill can correct me or Steve, but I'm pretty sure that's what I remember.
Okay. So on the bottom here, I just added some footnotes that were not on last year's that I saw. Basically, other government assessments, Quabbin Health District, Pioneer Valley Planning, I just added what Jill gave me to define what the actual line item is for. Overlay reserve miscellaneous amounts raised, overlay in any deficit raised on recap if applicable. Fiscal year 25 Belchertown School Department, fiscal year 25 Pathfinder, fiscal year 26 School Department, and fiscal year 2026 Pathfinder. If you look at the income for property tax levy, you see an enormous increase, and that's for obvious reasons with the override. So if everybody's in agreement, I can amend both the income and the expenses to format the same way.
I would also recommend totals, because you've got them listed there, but there's no totals.
Okay. That makes sense? Okay. Add totals.
Yeah, totals of revenue, totals of expenses. The easier it is for someone who doesn't have a financial background to read it and get a super quick snapshot of what it really is, I think the better.
And I just out of sheer curiosity, and maybe you can point this out to me. I see where you got Belchertown School Department and Pathfinder. I'm just a little curious where the numbers are fitting in there.
In what way?
Give me a second. Oh, so school Pathfinder RVTH is the totals right there. That's the
totals in the up end, and I just broke them out down below because it's going to be asked.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's good.
All right. Anyone make a motion that we proceed?
I make a motion to proceed to accept this with changes.
Second. Motion, discussion. All right, we'll do a roll call. Lori?
I'm affirmative, yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So passes 5-0-0. All right, let's move on. We're going right through this. Discuss any direct related topics. Let me just go. So this is the next page is was the source document, and that does have totals on it. So I'll amend it to add that.
That's fine.
Okay. So we'll discuss some direct related topics. The next packet I have was I received this from the town accountant back in late December, just before the holidays, and it's basically the expenditures of the town. where a lot of this information came from, and it goes back from 21 through projected 26. And since it was before the end of 25, no. It says projected 2025, Jill. Is this?
No, it will be actuals for 25.
Okay.
It's projected
Yeah.
for 26. I just didn't change that.
Oh, that's fine.
So it says projected, it should be changed to budget.
It should
Is
be
that what you're saying? I'm just trying to clarify.
final.
25, FY 25, the expenditures are, as budgeted, sorry. It's
okay, I'm just
as
looking for.
budgeted. I don't know which page you're looking.
101, it starts with, free cash appropriated.
Yeah, you have 23, 24, and 25. It should be budget.
Oh, yeah, okay,
It's the fourth page.
yeah.
It should be budget or actual?
Well, those two terms are used.
Well, it's budgeted,
All right,
but
just asking.
in that, yeah, no, it's okay. With that, it is also the actuals.
Okay.
It-
Okay, thank you.
On that particular page where we're talking about the free cash that was appropriated,
Okay.
stabilization funds and so on and so forth. What was budgeted was what happened. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Did the finance committee see the free cash certification for FY?
We did, you did show it to me earlier. I do not have it with me.
It's the result of operations from FY 25.
Right.
I do not have that document with me. So is there,
The amount is, one second. The amount of free cash that was certified is $1,418,350.
okay, and out of that $108,000 is right off the top gonna be allocated for payback to the stabilization fund. And there was originally scheduled to go split 60-40 stabilization fund and for use in the budget. Is that going to be?
Well, this year we were at
Yep.
60-40,
Yep.
with 40% going to capital stabilization and OPEB,
Okay,
60% going operational. The intent was to drop it 20% a year. In light of the health insurance crisis, there was some talk about maybe being flexible on that. So two things, we have the health insurance issue, but we've also been tightening up on free cash. If that trend continues, then there's going to be a smaller portion to divvy up. So I think Jill and I are going to recommend that we go with only a 10% adjustment this year versus a 20, so we go to 50-50. Because otherwise it's like a double reduction. If we saw free cash stabilized or going up, then it wouldn't hurt as much. But it's a two-pronged approach. We were looking to tighten that up a little bit, and it's happening. So next year, we already know that there's some one-time money going to be in free cash because we sold Franklin School for $150,000. And we also have a front-loaded lease with the Cold Spring School of $100,000. So we need to remember to probably take that off the top as well, because we don't want to put that into operating expenses because we know that won't be there next year. So we need to decide how we're going to spend that money, if we're going to put it in stabilization, if we're going to use it for capital, some special projects. These are all things that we need to talk about, but we have a year to do that next year at this time. Talking about.
the front-loaded lease, is that a capital lease or an operating lease?
That's for the Cold Spring School, so they have a triple net lease.
Okay,
So there's no expense to the town on the building. They basically own it,
okay,
just not on paper.
all right.
So any expenses, any capital items, they're all borne by.
Okay. Yep.
School district.
So Steve, that will bring a lot more revenue than just $100,000 in a one-time like lease fund because of the expenses the town is gonna save and not having to operate that school through either the town or the school budget, right? Like that's gonna be a huge cost savings, or am I crazy?
Yeah, I don't know how the schools are factoring that into their budget this year. That'll be a conversation for the upcoming charter board meetings.
Okay. Because, right, the town's not gonna have to absorb anything where we thought we might have if they closed it. And the school is gonna be able to take, hopefully. Okay.
They might have some expenses with the move. That
Right,
might be
up front.
from some of that money, but it'd be
In year
one-
one up front, yeah, absolutely.
Again, I'm not trying to be nitpicky. Under, it says special project CIP on that page 1 for free cash. There's an asterisk. I'm just curious, is there supposed to be something associated with the asterisk? Or is it just something that came from whatever you?
On that same page.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
That's the DLS asterisk, so
Yes.
I think it's just,
Okay, I was just,
it's not anything specific to what I put in there.
it's just my old banking thing.
Yeah.
You know, you see an asterisk, and you're always looking for a
Yeah,
footnote.
for the
That's all.
footnote in-
And it's okay if there isn't one.
Okay, so this list isn't to take any action on it. I just provided it as an FYI to, as we move forward, to look at how budgets are put together and pass and the subsequent spending throughout the year. That's about, but it was certainly interesting for me to review. All right, any other topics to come up? I know in 2 weeks from tonight is a tri-board meeting. And next time I wanted to meet today before the tri-board meeting. But I wanted to get this annual report reviewed and in before the 15th when it's due.
What's
So-
the date and time of that? The tri-board?
Time, I don't know. It's usually 6 o'clock,
Okay.
maybe
6:30.
6:30. It's on Monday, the 26th.
Okay. I won't be able to make it. I'll be in Plymouth. Just let you know.
As long as I believe there's only 3 of us that can make it, according to.
I'm most likely going to be able to make it. Hopefully in person if I'm not coughing and sneezing. I just really did not want to pass this on.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, because people passed it on to me and I'm not appreciative. And I know who they are.
All right, does anybody else have anything?
Nope.
Steve, Nicole?
Actually, I had a question. So if we go with your recommendation to only increase free cash policy by 10%, could we, if all agreed, could we earmark early to ensure that the funds coming from Franklin School and the Cold Spring lease definitely go to the following year's free cash policy, or is that something that has to get voted on in each year? Or could we say, okay, we agree to just do 10%, we want this money to go into these accounts for the following year?
Oh. So the money goes into the free cash the year it was received, the fiscal, so it's gonna be part of the FY 26 free cash.
Yep.
Which means it's available to budget for the FY 27 cycle. That's why
28.
28, so.
It's really confused because you're talking about three
3 years.
fiscal years at one time.
So because it was received September and later, it's not available this year. Now, you could conceivably vote to designate it towards the budget now.
Well, no, I'm thinking
Yeah.
designate it towards the budget for 28,
You could.
Yeah.
You could,
but vote on it
but you're gonna sit on
this
that,
budget season.
right, you're sitting on that budget for 2 years, or that goal for 2 years, and a lot could change in 2 years. But you could always revisit the vote. I'm just flagging it because when we see our free cash next year for our budget cycle, that money's built into it. I don't want anybody to think that it's available until there's a
Right.
discussion.
Yeah.
So whether we talk about it now or later, I don't know if that really. You're not we can't touch it until it goes to town meeting to be approved anyways. So any vote you take is just symbolic.
Is that going to affect the repayment that we discussed about the special town meeting, the allocations?
No, because that's, it'll be year 2 of that 3-year payment plan.
Okay,
So yes, you could say, let's put it all in there and be done with this. That's another option, because we're gonna take another 108,000 off the top.
I
Just,
think,
like I said, there's all kinds of options that need to happen.
I do like that option though.
I just don't wanna see somebody thinking it's available for operating expenses.
I agree.
It shouldn't be.
Yep.
All right. Well, I do have something here that I discovered over the weekend, and this was the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education formula for Chapter 70 funding. There were a couple things in here that I found interesting. If you go, I believe it's page 9. Okay, on the bottom, and this is, for this current year, so it was developed last year, but it's, year for year, it's pretty much the same. There's nothing for 27 yet, so this is really all we have to go with. The total statewide foundation budget in fiscal year 26 is $15.31 billion, an increase of $779.7 million, or 5.36% over fiscal year 25. So to put that in perspective, yes, we had an override, but that override was just 1 year. Our hands are tied to a 2.5% increase in local revenue through property tax levy. And the budget is built to be about, in here, average 59% borne by the town and 41% by the state in Chapter 70 funding. It's not quite exactly that here in Belchertown, but it's not far off of that. So that makes it kind of difficult to get to those numbers with just a 2.5%. So just put it out there. I mean, we do fund the school way above and beyond what the minimum foundation budget is. So it doesn't affect us when it comes to a foundation budget, but it does affect us when it comes to increasing their revenue every year, and it becomes a discussion every season, budget season. But looking at the at this document and reading through it was quite eye-opening. And let me go to the following page. Not the following page, but the.
Can I just ask really quickly, the statewide foundation budget, what exactly does that mean? Is that like all?
How much has to be spent for the students within the school?
So not how much they have to allocate to every school statewide.
I believe it is our budget is the minimum contribution that we have to give per town, which we're like 4 million over that.
Oh,
5
yeah.
million?
Yeah, more like five.
Yeah,
So you're asking us the 15 billion, what they're distributing, is that what you're?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
well, the average, it does go into that in here, but it is, might be right from the beginning. It's 59 local, 41 chapter 70. But there's things that affect that.
Frank, can I stop you for a minute?
Sure.
Are you saying that we only have to be giving 59% as our? No, you're not saying that.
No.
Never mind. Okay.
That's just the average for the state.
State, okay.
Every community is a little different, and that's kind of the next thing I wanted to get into. And I did talk to Steve about this. And if you go to page 16, Appendix A, how required local contributions are calculated. That's calculated by the state. Determining each municipality's target local share starts with the local share of statewide foundation. So a portion of that comes from residents' income taxes that they file with the state. Nothing anybody can do about that. That is what it is. But the next item and it has an equal weight to it, is the property assessments. So just wanted to look and see if we're, approaching that in the best way. As a
So when they
community.
increase, that tells the state we can pay more towards,
Property values are worth more.
we have more to put towards our own education, therefore our chapter 70 doesn't go lower because we're hold harmless, but it won't go up.
It doesn't increase, yeah. And to that, I'm gonna give you guys another document here. Geez, I don't think I have that many. I only have 3 of them here. I'll give you one, Kate. I'll just take a look at here with Rick's. So let's go to just the first page. All the pages following this are just the chapter 70 and the local distributions from the state on the cherry sheet. But on the first page, I broke out from 2016 to 2025. This is fiscal years. What the LEA budget provided for the town, what chapter 70 was, and how the percentage drastically changed. We went from right around 50% in 2016, LEA chapter 70, to in 2025, 57.43%. It's so from 2016 to 2025, chapter 70 increased 5.85%. Where from 2016 to 2025, local budget provided from Belchertown directly to the schools was 22.35%. So there's a significant difference. So unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, it is what it is, it doesn't matter, but chapter 70 comes into town on the cherry sheet, and that is part of it's just pass-through funding. And so that draws down the percentage that Belchertown is providing to the school district, and makes it seem like it's a much smaller percentage than it is when it's actually the chapter 70 funds keeping it down.
So the 22.35 is that then the increase since 2016? Is that what this
Yes.
is saying? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's saying for the 5.85%, it's saying from 2016, the chapter 70 funds will increase 5.85%.
Right, but when this is provided to to the school district in the budget that we vote for at town meeting, these are lumped together.
Okay,
So the percentage increase over the period looks to be much smaller
I see.
than it really is. So that's just something to keep in mind with this. And
But we still do contribute, I think recently as much as $5 million over and above our required minimum spending to support the schools with Belchertown dollars.
correct.
All of that said, I just don't want to have that get lost if anybody's watching this or on whatever. Belchertown itself has elected to millions of dollars over the required spending annually.
But I mean, this is just something to pay attention as we go into budget discussions. So there are challenges, and a lot of it has to do with the state's participation in the Chapter 70 formulas.
Yep.
And to see if there's anything we can do to skew that in our favor.
Do we know how many other towns did 2.5 overrides, like statewide? Is there a way to find that out?
I don't know.
Probably.
I'm just curious.
I know there's a lot of them talking about it this year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
A lot of local towns. I mean, I believe Ludlow, South Hadley, Northampton, maybe.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
The sheet on cherry sheet estimates. Can you just explain that a little bit?
Is this what, 2026?
Yeah, it's DLS.
Yeah, this is just 2026.
Okay.
This is what was voted for, the estimate.
Okay.
This might not be actual. So it tells you your Chapter 70,
Yep.
14,735,480.
Yep.
But with that, there's also I don't know if it's in here. School choice receiving.
Okay.
But there's the problem with Chapter 70 is also they also remove Chapter 70 later for students that choose to go elsewhere.
Oh, okay.
This is just a cherry sheet estimate.
Yeah.
The next one is 2025, and this is pretty much the actuals for each. It's a 2-page, and it'll go into school choice setting tuition. It's 1.1 million.
Yep.
It's quite a bit. So
I am so glad this is being recorded because there's no way I could write this down.
Charter school sending tuition
Yep.
is one that I didn't expect. Reading that. So
That 570 is that the number you're talking about?
now with Pathfinder is just an assessment that we pay. It doesn't affect Chapter 70 or. I mean, they're not coming here, so we don't get paid it, but
I assume, but I don't know
Yeah.
specifically, so I'd rather not.
okay.
It looks, if I remember correctly, there's like a regional allocation that Pathfinder's considered in.
I went back and watched that Chapter 70, but not.
Google talked about Pathfinder being a part of it. I don't remember how it all comes together.
Okay, yeah, I watched that too. That was very interesting. Came out of it with more questions than a whole new set of questions to ask that I didn't even know. But that's fine. So anyway, the whole idea is, keeping up with school funding is difficult, and we really need to acknowledge that. But
Can I ask a question? So if assessments, house assessments are what go into the contribution that we get.
it goes into the formula.
Into the formula. If our assessments were lower, we would get more money from the state, correct?
That's the way it reads.
Okay.
Um,
So then, have you thought or dug into if our assessment stayed down, but our mill rate went up, could that potentially get us more in funding?
Possibly.
And how does that work from a rules perspective with the assessor's office? Like, what's allowed?
We don't know that.
Yeah, this is the very beginning. I mean, this is the
Are
first,
we gonna?
We just had this conversation.
Okay.
yeah, we'd certainly like to.
There is, on Desi's website, a complete formula spreadsheet. I don't know if you looked at that, but it's like really deep down in Excel, and more so than, more so than I ever have. But you can look at every town, Belchertown has like tabs across that shows how everything is calculated. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, the one thing I want to do is I want to go through the DEES website. It's really a great website for getting information. I mean, you can export it out to an Excel spreadsheet and do all your forms in it. And I want to see really what the percentage of revenue school districts are getting from their communities. And there's even a tab on there for like districts. And it'll pull up all the comparable districts years. Just interesting to see how Belchertown does compared to some of the other districts in the state. So, but I don't have any of that information right now.
So what was confusing me earlier when I started to ask that question is this chart. So this chart is saying that, and I know this is looking at the entire state, but 41% is state aid, and then 59 is the local contribution. So the question I was trying to ask was, does that mean Belchertown really truly only needs to be contributing 59%, but instead we're contributing 70? Or am I understanding that?
No, that's of the foundation budget. The foundation budget for, so it's what the state says you have to be funding your schools. It's the minimum amount.
So what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
is our minimum only 59, but we're really giving the schools 70?
Yes. Yes.
Well, because we're giving them millions more than
Yes.
we need to, right?
Right. Not that I'm opposed to that, because I want us to have good schools, certainly.
Right.
And I want to do, it's not a negative, but yes, Nicole, we are millions of dollars we contribute to the school annually over and above what we're required to do. So 59% is the baseline. And Worcester Public School System, for example, does not, or Worcester, the city of Worcester does not contribute 1 penny to the schools over and above their minimum requirement. Like, that's just, most cities and towns such as Belchertown throughout the Commonwealth do contribute substantially more than that, because that 59% is just not enough to sustain most of the schools. But there are a few communities that say, nope, we're just giving that minimum. So yes, that is, so it is, that additional 11% makes up that 5 million.
That's just an average though, right? Because not every local, whatever.
I just want to put before that 59%, they require communities to pay 59% of the foundation budget, not 59.
So what's Belchertown's minimum percentage? Is
They-
it just change from year to year? No, the percentage
Yeah.
should stay the same, right?
They have the average, it's like 16,000 something per student is the average, and we're paying like closer to 18,000, if not more than that, now with the override pass.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know, what is our minimum percentage compared to the percentage that we actually split with the schools?
I don't even know what the foundation
It's
budget
pretty
is
close to this,
for
though, I would say,
Belchertown.
right?
We're paying way above and beyond what we have to be paying,
Mhm.
and we should be,
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
The 59% is what's required, period.
for the foundation budget, not of your local, not, it has nothing to do with 59% of the revenue Belchertown gets, goes
Okay.
to it.
All right.
It's, so if, say they need, let's just say it's $10,000 per student $5,900 they expect from Belchertown,
Mhm.
4,100 from the state. That's average.
Correct.
If we pay more than that, it's by choice.
But like Worcester, because they're low income, their local contribution is much, they get a lot more state money than we do,
Right.
so the percent.
Right.
So we're 59% local contribution. If you follow that arrow to the right, that 59% is split 50-50 between income and assessments. I don't know how they come up with that. They have a little 1.57% and 0.33%. I don't know how that figures into it. That would be interesting to spend some time looking at. I just, pulled this up over the weekend. But just wanted to see if it would be worth looking at this and seeing if there's any way we can get the most out of our Chapter 70 funding as we can.
So there's two components that feed into how much Chapter 70 we get: property tax assessment and income. Where does the income come from? Is it like
Our tax returns.
tax returns?
So does cities or towns with a higher low-income population, does that benefit them more than another town, say like Holyoke and Springfield or Holyoke and Chicopee, that kind of thing, where Holyoke has a high population of low-income families and, Chicopee does not have the same percentage or amount?
Yeah, they'll change their formula.
Their formula is different. They get more Chapter 70 funds.
So I'm starting to get really concerned that we haven't even felt the effects of this new assessment.
We haven't. This Chapter 70 will,
It's gonna go down.
It go-
it won't go down.
Well, it's
It'll
not
start
gonna
better.
increase.
It will not, yeah.
So
I've looked through old DLS reports and have been surprised to see that Belchertown's average income is lower than I would have expected it to be as compared to some towns. And I think a lot of it, I'm just speculating, but I wonder if a lot of it is because of how many people we have of a certain age in this town compared to other communities. We've got a lot of older folks that are on more fixed incomes. So that might also be working to our advantage. It might be the assessments that are our problem.
Yeah. So if you go to the next page, page 17, I'll read the top portion. Some municipalities have so much wealth or a small enough student population that the combined effort yield is excessive. The formula establishes a maximum local contribution of 82.5% of foundation budget, meaning that municipalities are not required to contribute more than 82.5% of their foundation budgets. In other words, the Commonwealth provides a minimum of 17.5% of foundation through state aid, even to the wealthiest communities. I mean, obviously we're not one of the wealthiest communities, but there's a huge gap in that formula. And
I could see why Worcester wouldn't need to put so much towards, because they're getting a lot more state aid to afford the cost to educate a kid. And
Correct.
but if I understand correctly from the Chapter 70 presentation, part of the problem is this hasn't been adjusted for inflation.
that hasn't, no.
And it doesn't get adjusted by inflation, period. Like, that's what I understand.
I thought there was a section in here about how it adjusts for inflation. Isn't it like it was like right towards the beginning, I saw it. they gave a percentage, I wanna say it was like 5% for inflation.
Right, the Student Opportunity Act, that is newer.
But that's not even full effect yet.
Right, so it does talk about an inflation increase of 1.9%.
Okay. That's, yeah. Is that average? What is average inflation from year to year? I don't know.
I mean,
It's been, if you go back to the beginning of COVID, it probably is close to 4%, 3.8% or something.
Yeah.
It's around there. But, I mean, before it was down, between 1% and 2%. When we can raise 2.5% per year, that's good.
I guess my question is, the state budget, huge pot, they divvy it up between education, housing, whatever. So Chapter 70 is always getting a slice of the pie. Is that slice of the pie staying proportionate? Is it decreasing? That's a question I have, and I don't know the answer to that. Like if the state decides to focus more on one area, are they decreasing the amount that can get allocated? So then our share is increasing because of that.
Well, the student enrollment has gone down. And
Yeah.
they do talk about that, and.
Statewide it has?
Yes. Let's see, fiscal year chapter 70 calculation begin with each district's fiscal year 25 chapter 70 amount. The sum of that amount and the required local contribution is less than the district's foundation budget. And foundation add is, let's see, what's the wrong, to cover the gap. 96 districts receive foundation aid in fiscal year 26. Other districts receive minimum aid increases of $150 per student. How foundation, I did read an article about this statewide. It's a noticeable decrease in enrollment. All right, in fiscal year 26, foundation enrollment is 905,307, a decrease of 265 or 0.3% from fiscal year 25. Foundation enrollment decreased for 195 districts, while 121 districts experienced enrollment increases. And because of the timing involved in the state budget process, foundation enrollment lags by 1 year. For example, fiscal year 26, chapter 70 relies on October 1st, 2024 pupil counts. The October 1st, 2025 isn't even published yet. So. And there's a lot of other stuff this goes into. It talks about English learners. They have expenditure categories, budget enrollment category. We can't do anything about the categories. I mean, the families that live in this town and the families that live in this town. And we should just focus and look at items that we may be able to at least have some control over, even if it's just a minor amount. I mean, who knows what the difference could be, but if we can make a little bit of a difference over 10 years, it might be a big deal, even if it's not 1 year.
Who's tasked with looking into that?
Can we meet with or discuss this with maybe the assessors, board of assessors? We can write them a letter and.
Are you talking about the assessment for the properties in town?
Yeah, see what they consider if this is at all. I mean, maybe they consider this at this point. I don't know. I don't think Steve knows, do you?
No, I mean, I think they follow very strict guidelines from the state on how they assess them. I don't think there's a lot of room for discretion in that regard.
But
There's a range, isn't it, that they can go?
I'm not exactly sure.
I'd be interested in how do they decide what to go for? Because I think you can assess up to 110% or something like that. But, I mean, that'd be crazy. But how did they decide on what they did? I guess would be my question.
I mean, I know it's a bit of a balancing act because of overall, the tax levy can't go up more than 2.5% a year. So the tax rate goes down when the assessments goes up and vice versa. And they usually like to find a spot where market adjustments are gonna hurt too bad.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what that percentage is. I can talk to, Jay Wall and the assessor and, report back to Brian.
Yeah, page 15 here discusses the whole thing about the Student Opportunity Act, how it changes the foundation budget. My understanding is the Student Opportunity Act has not been favorable to Belchertown. But I'm sure Brian might have, the superintendent might have some insight as to this as well. Maybe, I don't know.
And weren't we discussing something about agricultural? I remember from a few meetings ago.
I think rural,
Is it rural?
yeah, and we don't meet the requirements of a rural district. Now, you have to have 35 students per square mile in town, and we're above that. I know I took the students, if you just take the students enrolled in Belchertown School District and Granby School District, just for the heck of it, and combine the square miles of the two communities together, and did we would be just under 35. But I mean, do they might consider students leaving your school district and school choice in that calculation as well, because they are still students from your district or from your town. So I don't know how that would work. That would take a little bit more effort than just a Google search. And
Did you look at both of them? You combine them together because you were thinking about if we qualify for rural credits as a regionalized school? Is
Yeah.
that what you did that for?
yeah, and but it, like I said, it does not include anybody's school choicing out. I don't remember if I included the school choicing in those numbers. I don't remember that off the top of my head. I probably did it both ways. Because it's pretty close, the students coming in and going out.
There's a lot here, and I think I would have to really go through this.
Yeah, there's a lot here, and it'd be better to take some time and just review it, and maybe we can bring this up at a later time. I mean, obviously, we can't do anything with it now, but
I hope people are paying attention. This could be something.
all right. With that said, does anybody else have anything to come up?
Serious?
Yep. It's about half. We beat that to death for a half hour.
Okay.
Came out of it with more questions than we went in with.
Where did you see the overall number of students?
And what the,
In this packet, you said there was like 900.
yeah, it's on page 6.
What was the question again?
I was asking the number of students.
905, the foundation enrollment is 905,000. I don't know if that's
Yeah, that's.
you'd have to read the whole thing. The foundation enrollment is based on a count of the students the school district is financially responsible for on October 1st of any given year. Those who leave in September or arrive after October 1st are not counted. A student who happens to be absent on October 1st is included nonetheless. This is a measure of enrollment, not attendance. Enrollment plays an important role, blah, blah, blah.
And it includes vocational students too.
Yeah, vocational foundation budget is a few $100s per student higher than the than non-vocational. And trying to think of what else here.
So how do they know which students we have that are in vocational per se?
The schools report all this. It's all due October 1st. It's really detailed. If you go into the DEES website, there are just report after report after report you can look at. It's, there's absolutely a ton of information in there. And it can get a little overwhelming. Like English learners is a big deal. And they have percentages for the state. I would almost think that Belchertown be under, assumed in district special education enrollment is set at 3.97% of the foundation enrollment. And at 5% for vocational enrollment.
If you go to YouTube, there's a webinar out there called Chapter 70 and 70. In 70 minutes, they break down very simply as possible how Chapter 70 calculation works. I found it really helpful.
Is that the one that you or Katie sent to us?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I liked it.
So, I mean, I came across this, I was at work today, my daughter print this stuff out and put it together, and thought it'd be of interest for everybody to look at.
Yeah.
And maybe further down the line, we can discuss this a little bit more intelligently. All right, with that said, if there's nothing else,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
A roll call.
Lori,
Affirmative, aye.
Rick,
Aye.
Katie, Mike?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night. See you on the 26th, hopefully. I'm planning on being there as long as I'm free from germs. Even then, I would probably go remotely, but I am planning on being there.
All right, Lori, have a good one.
Thank
Hope you're
you.
feeling
You
better.
too.
Yeah, I'll be
Thank
better.
you. I am. Thank you. Bye-bye.
This conference is no longer being recorded.